We were just talking about it, Ben. Marcus Stroman yesterday saying that the Blue Jays have the best rotation in all of baseball. I think to me, it's a little, to all of us really, it's a little bit of Marcus Stroman trying to pump his fellow teammates up, but it's one of the best. Where do you rank the Blue Jays starting rotation?
Got to be in the conversation at least for the best in the American League. I think Cleveland clearly belongs in that discussion as well, with Kluber and Salazar coming back, Carrasco coming back. That's a deep rotation as well. I think in the National League, the New York Mets and Washington Nationals are really a step above, at least as far as potential. But you look at guys like Syndergaard, Matt Harvey, Matt, DeGrom. That is a stacked New York Mets rotation. And in Washington, you've got Scherzer, you've got Strasburg. I really think that those two might be the cream of the crop. But the Blue Jays belong in the discussion of the better rotations in baseball. And I wouldn't expect anything different from Stroman than to say that the Blue Jays are the best of the best.
Ben, when you look at the five pitchers that will be put together for opening day rotation, who are you most concerned with at taking a step back from the previous year?
Well, I think that you could really look at J. Happ and Marco Estrada there, and not to say that they couldn't replicate what they did, because what they did last year was in a lot of ways the product of adjustments on the field, and those could carry over. But when you're talking about a guy in Happ who got Cy Young votes, who won 20 games, who set a career high in innings, all those things are tough to replicate. And it wouldn't be a surprise if his ERA went from the 3.2 range to the 3.8 or 9 range. And that'd still be, by the way, a very successful season that the Blue Jays would probably take. And as for Estrada, it's just hard to project all-star seasons from guys every single year. So I think both of them are key cogs for this group, and the Jays are happy to have them both around, of course. But to expect what they did last year again, I mean, that's asking a lot.
Yeah, and also for Stroman, I mean, the overall numbers for the season may be underwhelming, but he really just had one awful month in there, another bad month as well. I think it was May, June where he really struggled. But outside of that, and especially in the second half when he found it, Stroman may have been one of the better pitchers in the American League.
Yeah, he's gone through stretches where he looks really good. And I think we found out where the Blue Jays assessed Stroman toward the end of the season when, especially in that wild card game, they had Liriano lined up on regular rest to start against the Orioles if they had wanted to go that way. And they didn't. They went with Marcus Stroman, and they went back to him in the ALCS. And that shows to me that they believe he's a big game pitcher. He's someone who has thrived on the big stage many times, dating back to the 2015 playoffs, dating back to the 2015 stretch run. He's been able to step up in those big moments. And so that shows to me that the Blue Jays have a lot of confidence in Stroman, and it's not just coming from him.
What would it take for a Francisco Liriano to rekindle what he was with the Pittsburgh Pirates of a couple of years ago? Do you look through tape if you're part of that, that pitching staff as far as the coaching is concerned, and kind of figure out what made him so dominant a couple of years ago?
Yeah, and I think that they came pretty close to replicating that toward the end of last year. And I definitely think that they will look at all kinds of tape to try to find out just how to keep that going, because there's a big difference between Liriano when he's going well and Liriano when he's struggling. But It's funny because, as far as the actual pitches that he throws, there might not be as much of a difference as, we might initially think, because when he's at his best, he's still stretching the boundaries of the strike zone with pitches that might technically be balls, but they have so much life to them that batters can't help but swing. And when he's at his best, he's getting hitters to chase, swing at bad pitches, make weak contact, strike out on pitches that are on those borders. When he's struggling, hitters are laying off those pitches, and he's walking too many guys and getting into trouble that way. So it is funny how really it's a game of inches in so many ways, and I think with Liriano that definitely applies.